We live in a culture that glorifies hustle, more money, more output, more achievement. But what happens when that chase starts chasing you? Today's conversation is about drive, healing, unplugging from the noise, and what it takes to build a legacy that doesn't burn you out. Welcome to the Legacy Builders Podcast, where we are redefining generational wealth one story at a time. Today, I am joined by Jeff Kamelick, founder of Inner Exodus Meditation and Coaching. Jeff is in the process of building something unique, a physical space where people unplug, turn in their phones, slow down, and do the work of healing. Jeff, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you, Mario. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. So for people hearing you for the first time, who are you and what are you building right now?
Yeah, sure. The name most people call me by is Jeff Kamelick. And I have the honor of being the founder of Inner Exodus Meditation and Coaching. And, just a little bit of background and just to lead in what you said. For 10 years, I was in the wireless industry, and the hustle, the bustle, the grind, everything that you just talked about, it tapped me out. It took all of the humanness out of me. People were reduced to numbers. It was all about profit over people. And what ended up happening was I turned into something that I despised. And after the divorce in 2017, I started investigating some different things and questioning if what we were taught growing up was really the best way to live. And that, I took a deep dive into meditation, into nutrition, pharmaceuticals, to get a better understanding of the neuroscience behind the way that we live. And to your point, there is a way to be able to be divinely inspired and guided and have the energy to where you don't burn out. And that's what we want to share with people, is that we have a proven method that enhances your life by focusing on what holds you down, what weighs you down from an emotional, mental, and physical perspective. And once you can get some healing there, then you can actually activate that full being, the full human technology within. And it does take a little bit of effort and a little bit of work, but I'll tell you what, the preventative maintenance of getting into meditation and having a coach to be able to help unpack so much, it's invaluable.
Yeah. You didn't just start coaching practice, though. You bought some land and you're working on a pretty big project. What made you want to build something physical?
Yeah. So there's Inner Exodus and the meditation and coaching. We have the digital app, and we have several books that are coming out. We have one out right now, Achieving Extraordinary Effectiveness Through E Cubed. And the next portion of what we wanted to do was create a nonprofit, and we did. It's called Wellness for the World Incorporated. Yes, I did purchase with a partner 10 acres of land here in Idaho, and I still want to build it out for a retreat facility, and we're working on some things right now to see if that's something that we can create.
Yeah.
And if not, if it's not on that land, we still want to give people the opportunity to have an outlet for retreats. So that way you can get away, you can unplug. It's not just coming into the physical space for an hour or two, but you actually get the chance to unplug for 6 or 7 days.
Yeah. What do you want people to feel when they arrive?
Yeah. At the office, we want you to feel calm. We want your nervous system just to feel that this is a safe place of no judgment. That way you can feel what you need to feel, process whatever you need to process through the meditation techniques. And as far as the retreat facility, man, we want people to feel the power of transformation, of love, of energy, of everything that they want, and they just haven't been able to achieve yet.
Yeah, that's huge. I've gone through my own fair share of that. I mean, I was in the software, just the commercial software sales world for 8 years, right? And just grinding all the time. I still like it every single day. I'm grinding, and there's days where I just feel burnt. I'm like, man, don't really want to keep going, but I have to, right? Bills got to get paid. There's people that look up to me. I have multiple teams that I have to deal with. So the burnout is real, man. Um, why is disconnecting from phones and constant simulation such a big part of, I guess, the meditation piece, or like being able to unplug, or
So attention and focus, right, is one of the first things that I learned in my neuroscience course. And what ends up happening from biochemical dopamine, for example, and just the way that we are desensitized, the screen, the likes, what are we chasing? Are we chasing the life that we see from somebody else? And these are all things that are messing with the brain chemistry, increasing stress, more cortisol, more adrenaline, and deregulating the body's homeostasis. So what we found is that the fastest way to transform, and this is I love this quote, before Hippocrates, before you heal a man, ask him if he'll remove that which makes him sick. And what we know about, especially cell phones, is they emit radiation. All right. So from a radiation perspective, it's not good to hold it in your hand for too long. It's not good to have it in your aura field for too long. And if we're not able to keep the phone in another room for at least 1 hour while awake, we might have some kind of cell phone addiction.
Oh yeah,
right?
I know, I do, 100%.
Yeah.
I can't go for 5 seconds without like I got to see if I have text or email I have to respond to. You know. Yeah.
And that's a big part of what we do. So fasting, right? Phone fasting, screen fasting. That's part of the emotional and the mental. I brought up, we're in the final stages of getting the Inner Exodus mobile app.
Yeah.
Ready to go. I mean, this thing is sweet. It's 33 challenges.
Wow.
And you are inspired to do 3 of them, 1 emotional, 1 mental, 1 physical, for 21 days in a row. And then you complete that, then you move on to the next 3. And you get to choose which ones you want. There's all kinds of different exercises and challenges, writing assignments, meditations, burpees, and if you can't do a burpee, you do a push-up. If you can't do a push-up, you do a plank. If you can't do a plank, then, it's everybody has the opportunity to heal at some capacity and to increase their strength, endurance, and flexibility.
Yeah.
And the stuff that we have is a way to be able to use the phone as a tool to be able to change habits. And then once you change your habits, like Aristotle said, success is not an act, but a habit.
Yeah.
And it's what we repeatedly do. And that's the part of the correlation is that every time we make a change and we do something difficult, whether it's getting in the cold plunge in the morning or putting pen to paper and writing a letter we don't want to write, or taking 10 minutes to meditate, what ends up happening is we end up creating that new neural pathway, those neurons that fire together, wire together, like Joe Dispenza says. And once those neurons and the axons create that neural pathway, you truly do become a different person. And that's what everybody thinks. It's so tough to transform and so tough to do this. And most people just need some love, some accountability, and gamify it. So that's a big thing that we did. You get stars, you get opportunities to get different merchandise and whatnot. And that's the thing where, like, how can we make this fun? Because when I talk to people about meditation or coaching or, changing, fasting, they're like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, but you want to have high quality of life, right?
Yeah,
so what's the trade-off?
Yeah.
It's like the alcoholic who, accepts spiritual help or keep drinking till you're dead. And they're like, I think I'll keep drinking till I'm dead.
Yeah.
Because that's the situation that we're in. And are we really being examples for the next generation?
Yeah.
Are we really, truly carrying the mantle to teach them how to be able to live connected to a way of life that has been historically and conveniently covered from an herbs perspective, from a natural healing remedies, from acupuncture, Chinese medicine, different Rife technologies and Tesla technologies that are available that were suppressed for 50 years. that we can now help people. All you have to do is sit around this machine that we have. It's called a biocharger. And Dr. Rafe, he found that if the frequencies match on a hertz level with certain vibrational frequencies, it will kill your parasites and your cancer cells and will actually help create and regenerate new cells. So we have this opportunity. We have technology like the super patch, which is a patch that through your parallel nervous system, it reads the code on the patch. There's no medicine, there's no drugs, there's nothing. It's just a code on the patch that your brain reads through your parallel nervous system, and it actually changes neural pathways. So we're finding these ways where we don't have to cut, burn, poison anymore, and we can really, truly help people heal. But then for the people who are ready for the fast, who are ready to really get into it, sometimes we just need a buddy to be able to help out.
Accountability.
The community. And that's where the community comes in.
Yeah. I was just having a conversation with my nephew yesterday about meditation and like for me, crossing my legs and putting my hands up to my sides, kind of shutting my brain off. I've tried it before. Maybe I'm not doing it right. And I feel like when people hear meditation, that's automatically what they jump into. I've been finding with myself that I used to think going to the gym is a form of meditation. It's really not for me, but really just getting out walking for an hour and just maybe music, maybe not, just be in my own head. That's kind of been working for me. So like I guess in your experience, if there was somebody new to the concept of meditation, are there maybe 3 top forms of it that you would recommend them try?
Well, yeah. So here's the thing. There's as many forms of meditation as there are grains of sand on every beach on this entire planet. And the great part is everybody can participate, whether you're going to a vinyasa flow yoga class or you're going to a sound bowl bath, or you are just going on to YouTube and downloading a 10-minute sleep meditation or whatever. Trust the pull, trust whatever comes to you. Obviously, I'm going to recommend that you try out inner exodus meditation. Right. And what we do is we're very deliberate about the pre-meditation process, because like you just said, most people are like, oh, meditation is, mudra, sitting cross-legged, complete silence. Yeah. And when most of us try that, I don't know about you guys at home, but when you try it, your mind starts going so fast. And then before you know it, you open your eyes, you're pulled out, you're doing the dishes, you're doing something, you're incapable of sitting still and calming and regulating the nervous system. So we focus so much on the pre-meditation portion, the tapping, the breathing, and the vibration in order to open up and release what's in us. From a biochemical level, from a vagus nerve perspective, the vibrational tools that we use, which it's as simple as humming, or if you want to, you take your arm and kind of do a moo into your arm or into a towel. And that vibration, along with the breath that you're, going into and through the nose, out through the mouth, what it does is the mind can only focus on one thing at a time. So if your brain is only focusing on counting the breaths, or if your brain is only focused on tapping or vibrational technique, what ends up happening is you forget about what you were worrying about. Or you forget about, what you wanted to change in the past. Because it's always the fear of the future or the regret of the past that pulls us out of the present moment. And for most of us, it's debilitating. I mean, poor sleep, right? Overweight. People lose that first 10 pounds and they can't understand, why can't I get past that next layer? Yeah. Well, the reason is because when we have these high stress moments and we're incapable of regulating our nervous system and getting to that rest digest portion in our sympathetic nervous system, what ends up happening is we burn out our adrenal glands, and that adrenaline cortisol creates a layer over that next layer of fat. So we've got to deal with those emotions and that calcified biochemical reaction in order to break through. So literally this meditation is about breaking through. Gotcha. And it's a dynamic meditation technique. It's set to music. And we do some journaling exercises. We give a theme, and then you go into your meditation. I talk over the music a little bit to remind you to connect with your breath, connect with your prayer and your intention, and then process, transmute, right? If you get stuck, breathe. If you get stuck, pray. If you get stuck, tap. If you get stuck, get up, move. The meditation is a dynamic moving meditation. So as the music increases in tempo, we invite you to get up in almost an ecstatic dance way.
Yeah.
So the music offers opportunity if you're carrying a lot of pain and grief to have tears, to be able to pour that out of the body. Also, to be able to get to that point where you've released that energy so that way you can calm.
Felt like I could have used that on Monday. We originally had a conversation scheduled, right? And I hit you up. I was like, Jeff, I don't know if I can do it today, man. Right. And lightly want to touch on that just to kind of get your perspective. What I was dealing with over the weekend, I had this realization that I'm obsessed with chasing wealth or getting money, right? And it's very layered, but at the end of it, it's because I'm 41, recently gone through the divorce, so I'm like having to rebuild right now, right? And that's kind of where the journey really kicked off. I was like, man, I got to get my shit together. I need to have money so I can just relax and I don't have to worry about having to rebuild again. And so I had this fear that what if I get to that point and it's just not enough. I'm not fulfilled. And for whatever reason, it was just bringing me down. I felt like I had a little anxiety attack almost, which is rare for me because I feel like it builds over time, right? So I guess my question to you is from your perspective, what do you think is happening when somebody feels that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. And first off, I had never had a panic attack before. I mean, I've had plenty of overdoses and detoxes and whatnot, but I never had what people would say is a panic attack. And I had my very first one March 24th of 2021, and I was up in my cabin in Grand Lake, and it was the same exact near death experience that I had multiple times before when I was in that active addiction. And having those experiences, because it's anxiety is the mind believing that it has to do everything at once, which is physically impossible in this material reality. And the bridge to be able to get there is not available. So when getting into those states, I keep sour candy or gum around, so that way it's about getting into the senses. Because what happens is we are not connecting the bridge to the physical reality, and that everything in this moment is perfect. Everything in this moment is exactly how it's supposed to be, or else it would not be happening, because imperfection would not exist in reality. So that's a deep rabbit hole, but to take it from the quantum to the reality is brown table, smooth wood, sour candy, breath. It's being able to connect back into this material world and just relax, because what happens is that surge to the central nervous system and to the entire nervous system in the body, it is like getting into a car accident. And that's what a lot of people, and I myself didn't understand until I did the research and I had it happen to me, not in that order, of course. But what I found out is that the first thing that we must do is connect to breath. All right. To get into the body. All right. Connecting into breath. And then from that point is focusing on, okay, what's going on here, and focusing on what's right, what's going well. Because as you know, there's the law of attraction was like the biggest thing for 15 years, right? The secret and everything. And what I learned in my studies is that the law of vibration precedes the law of attraction. Therefore, we need to attune to the vibration of abundance, the vibration of wealth, the vibration of love, understanding, peace, if that is what we choose to attract. But we also live in the world of polarity. We live in the world of duality. So we must remember that for every action, there is an opposite or equal reaction, according to Einstein, right? So when I'm going so far into the light and into those positive principles and attributes, invariably I'm going to attract like-minded people, like-hearted people who are on that path and on that journey. But what I'm also going to have happen is I'm going to have people on the complete other end of the spectrum, on the darkest of darkest. And they're hurt, they're damaged, they're sick. either wanting help or wanting an opportunity to take advantage of someone. So constantly remembering that is something that really, really helps me, is honoring, going towards the light, but then also everything's perfect right now. The past, there's no regrets. Everything happened for a reason, right? Not myself too. I got divorced back in 17, and we were together for almost 5 years. And yeah, it was devastating. It was challenging. It was tough. And the greatest gift that I ever got was through that divorce. I got one of my best friends back, and we are thick as thieves, super close. If I needed to, I'd jump in the car right now and drive to Portland if she needed me. And it's the same way. So knowing that what I think is the worst situation that could possibly happen can end up being really, really good. And then vice versa. If I get my hopes up too much and I think this is a great situation, and all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out. So equipoise, staying balanced, which is also a result of practice and meditation.
Gotcha. So how do you tell the difference between healthy ambition and unhealthy attachment?
Great question. So attachment is the results. So if you're attached to the results, then there's going to be unfulfilled expectations no matter what. And the unfulfilled expectation could be, I showed up 5 minutes late and it screwed up the rest of your day. There's disappointment in there. And we don't know how to feel the disappointment in a healthy way because we've been taught the way that we were taught. Real men don't cry, right? I'll give you something to cry about. How to be able to process those emotions. So that's a key piece.
Okay. A lot of
really quick. Yeah. So that's the attachment, and then healthy ambition. Ambition is the desire, right? You want something, and there is nothing wrong with saying, I want a big house. I want this. But what I challenge you to do, and challenge everybody to do, I want a 3,000 square foot house with 5 bedrooms, and then in your mind, design the bedrooms, right? And then forget about that notebook, forget about that piece of paper, and then live your life and keep following the pull and see if you still want that. See if you get it. That's the game of life that's really cool, is having a healthy ambition for material possessions, love, people, etc. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I've learned is all those things, and I'm not trying to get biblical, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added up to you. So for me, it's seek the kingdom of eternity, right? Seek the kingdom of the source of love and compassion. And as long as I do that, everything's going to be there perfectly.
Yeah, you become what you think, right?
To a certain extent. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's been 2 years since I wrote out my, what my life looks like in the future, but in present tense, right? And huge believer in vision boards. As a matter of fact, I'm teaching a class here in 2 weeks for Third Collective on vision boards and the importance. You walk into my room, it's like a whole freaking wall right now. So, but just being able to see that every single day, and just achieving those actions. But maybe I think too, like, is that why I'm so obsessed with this? Because it's ingrained in me, like, that's what I got to get, A lot of my audience are builders, they're operators, people who carry responsibility. How do you heal without becoming passive?
Yeah, the biggest thing is I got to take a look at my weekly schedule and create time for me first. Like there's those non-negotiables, and I get it. You got wife, kids, family, side job. There's all kinds of different variables and factors, but the number one thing is I've got to take care of myself first. So when I'm making my weekly schedule, my number one thing on there are my commitments, right, to recovery, my commitments to the Inner Exodus meditation community. So 6:30 a.m. on Tuesdays, I know where I'm going to be. 8 p.m. on Wednesdays, I know where I'm going to be. And then from there, build out the rest of the schedule based off of necessity, and really get into the effort and the efficiency of that effort. Because I think everybody out there, when you're in love, when you're in joy, when you feel passionate, connected to your purpose, you could work 24 hours a day forever.
Yeah.
And what happens is that either the shiny wears off, or something external happens which impacts my internal, or all of a sudden a depression wave hits me and then I'm incapable of doing whatever needs to get done. It's just important to remember that if you can stay strong in whether it's getting to the gym, your spiritual practice, whatever it is, you'll avoid burnout.
When you hear generational wealth, what comes to mind?
The elite.
Okay. Go ahead and expand on that, because when I went into this, it was money, and then I learned then I started toying around with the phrase generational health, right? Because health is wealth, and then so it's a lot of different things. So expand on that.
Well, this is fantastic, and I don't want to get the podcast black labeled because I say some stuff that's a little bit too far out there. So
PG, keep it PG.
We'll just stay. When I think of generational wealth, I think of those families that have ruled the world for ages. And I'm not going to bring up any names or anything, but they were placed in a position to be in control of how we live our life with the financial situation, right? Whether it was gold and silver, and then into paper currency backed by such, and then now just the fiat currency, and where we're going with digital currency, et cetera. So that's the first inclination. I was like, yeah, dollars and cents. I love what you said about generational health, because that's where I take it now. Is I say, would you rather pass down to your children $1 million, or would you rather pass down to them completely healed DNA?
I like it.
What's the choice to be? I mean, because what we've learned is that this system, what we're doing, is not working.
Yeah.
It's creating more burnout, more pharmaceutical dependency, more stressed out people. The political situation and the division in this country is just it's insane. And the goal, if it could be, my perfect world is, the goal is unity. And it's unity through understanding, through curiosity, through appreciation. And then hopefully we get to celebration, to where the most homophobic person in the world can celebrate the love of an LGBTQ plus couple.
Yeah.
Where the most violent racist of all time can be happy for someone of a different color skin having success.
Yeah.
And who knows if we get there in our lifetime, but it's very clear that the mission in this lifetime is to get as close as we can.
Yeah, I think my definition of it has changed since I've started doing this, because I've learned a lot of different perspectives. And for me, at least at this point in my journey, it's knowledge transfer, right? Like, yes, it's good to have money for my kids and their generations to pass on, but I'd rather teach them how to sustain and live life comfortably and be healthy, and because that's something they can pass on. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. The whole thing, when studying genetics and epigenetics and deep diving into cellular generation and stuff, I learned about how everything that you do impacts everybody that shares DNA with you.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the thing. Do we all share DNA in the entire world? Are we all connected to a certain degree?
I feel like we are. Yeah.
We're like a big aspen grove, right?
Yeah.
There's a collective conscious. And working at the cellular level, what I've found is that every time you make a right choice, a right correction in your life, it impacts directly those within a 7-generational line. So without getting too far out there, we're not just healing those living, we're also healing the ghosts of the past. And that's the part that gets so exciting, because if your concern is, am I going to do enough in this lifetime to be the dad that leaves, etc., for my kids, that's great. And then also letting them choose, right? And when they get to that age, I love this quote. Children didn't come to this planet for us to teach them how to live. They came back to remind us how to live.
I love that.
So, I don't have any kids of my own. I got a couple nieces and nephews, a couple godsons and a goddaughter.
Yeah.
And what it comes down to me is every time I get the chance to be in the childlike presence, I want to be in that land of imagination. I want to see how they see the world because they're still so close to wherever we came from before we took this body, right?
Yeah.
So that's always my 2 cents for any parents. I'm like, every
Yeah.
time you want to tell them how to live their life, instead take a deep breath, recognize if that's your mother or father speaking through you, or grandfather or grandmother, and then switch it around and ask them, well, what do you want
Yeah,
to do?
I periodically ask my kids. It's become more common now, but I'll ask them like, what should I know about an 8-year-old? What should I know about a 14-year-old? Or what do you think I know but I really don't? Like, educate me,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's huge. What patterns do you see people unknowingly pass down, whether good or bad?
Wow. So once again, the grains of sand, it's so
Yeah.
plentiful. But if I had to really put them into um, maybe like 3 categories, it would be the Cardman drama triangle.
Mhm.
So you're constantly in drama. So you're either the victim, the rescuer, or the persecutor, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes you can play 2 roles in the same triangle with just another person. And that gets passed down a lot, is this addiction to drama, to chaos.
Yeah.
Peace is not good.
Yeah.
Not being good enough, not doing things the right way. There's not enough time, there's not enough money, so a lot of scarcity really gets brought down that way. But mostly this is the way you have to do it,
Mm.
and that's the one that really creates that block, to where once you practice that behavior, you're desensitized, it becomes automatic, then you don't even know that you're doing it.
Yeah. Hmm. How much do you think people tie their identity to income or productivity?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Self-esteem's funny. And, I've worked with so many people who, how you doing? Not good. Why? Stock market just went down. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
So it's all external circumstances, and it's all about money, and it's image, and so yeah, I'd say a lot.
Yeah. So what happens when someone's worth becomes tied to output?
Well, output is something unique because productivity and activity are not the same. And there's a lot of activities that do not produce any viable results for business or relationships or whatever. You're just, running on the treadmill over and over, right?
Yeah.
And the, the viable results that that we can get from really facing and feeling the attachment to that identity, because it's going to get broken one way or another.
Oh yeah.
You're going to get fired. You're going to lose a job. I mean, it's going to happen to everybody, unless you choose to stay in the same job and you really love it. And God, if that's your journey and your mission, God bless you, man.
Yeah.
But I walk into Jimmy John's today and walk into other restaurants or grocery stores, and I see all the people working there, and no one's smiling. Nobody's happy.
Yeah.
And very rarely. And I'm just like, wow, these unhappy people putting their unhappy hands on that dead food in order to make the sandwich. And I'm like, fudge, I'm eating all of their disappointment.
I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've noticed a huge difference. And I recently went to Texas, and on the way back, it was a horrible experience. But I was fortunate to that day, even though things were going sideways, everybody had a smile on their face. They were being helpful, and it made me feel really good. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's where the community aspect comes in so much too.
Yeah.
Because look, I spent a lot of years in false acceptance and in positive mental attitude, just pushing forward, grinding. And then what ended up happening was I realized how much I had stuffed and stored, not just my anger, rage, disappointment, anguish, but also all of the secrets from other people as being a coach, as being a mentor, etc. I held so much of it that I had not released. And that's what so many of us go through, especially the fathers out there, and so many of the mothers who carry the burden on their shoulders. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what really can be released, is all those expectations.
As we're wrapping up here, when you look 10 to 20 years out from now, what hope or what do you hope Inner Exodus represents?
I've had dreams, I've had visions of Inner Exodus being a household name, and of us being able to create that digital network, that web of just like-minded, like-hearted people with the desire to heal. I'd love to see a society filled with people obsessed with finding solutions, right? To the point where we're not creating problems because we're addicted to solution finding, but we're obsessed with finding a better way to do this. And by this, I mean, take care of each other, right? Make sure that we're living with the highest quality of life, a relaxed nervous system. We're all at the weight we should be, and not just physically, but mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, I love it. If there was one piece of advice you could give somebody out there who might be struggling with whatever part of the journey of their life in, and you can tie it to meditation or just nuggets, just life advice, what would you tell them?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't quit before the miracle happens. No matter how down, no matter how just brutal this existence in this life is, hold on. Just hold on, and know that there's people like us out here that we want you to be part of our community. We want to help you heal, and that's our only aim.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, I appreciate the conversation. It's been very insightful. I feel like I was trying to hold back because there's so much to unpack and so many different directions that we can go into. I'd love to maybe talk again about connections with people, right? And how I know people are disconnected or they don't know how to communicate with each other. And I'm sure with your experience and your journey, you probably see that all the time. Right?
I'll give you this is the perfect cliffhanger. So over the last 2 years, I've been working on 6 different books. We got one book out, and we're working on the second and the third simultaneously. And one of those books is called The Law of Relevance. And you can Google search it. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's totally cool. Just an original that came through this being. And I take very little credit for it. The Law of Relevance states that the more I talk about things that are irrelevant to you, the more our relationship is going to separate. So the key is finding relevance, finding common ground, and talking about it. And then also, if you go on for 20 minutes talking about something that's irrelevant to me, I've got the place where I can listen generously, but then also say, man, I'm glad that is really exciting to you. Let's talk about, what else, and just really how to be able to move through a conversation and connect with people while honoring their ego, while honoring their higher self in totality.
Yeah. I love it, man.
Thank you, brother.
Awesome. Well, I again appreciate you for taking the time, for rescheduling and working with me. Can't wait to have you back, and I know we're both going to kick ass and do amazing things. So,
Ditto, man.
take it easy, man.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Thanks, man.